Hello, YouTube. Rather have some beer, but I'll settle for this. And that's smart. Ugh. Shit burns like a motherfucker. One good thing about the one thing, probably the only thing better about that than beer, is that you can take your time with that. But in actuality, in fact, you have to take your time with that unless you want to be sicker than fuck and vomit your soul up. So anyways. Let's fucking get to the video. This is going to be on a few things. I thought by the end I would talk about what I think the best country is versus what I think the worst country is. And that really should give you a pretty good view on my politics of what I think a country should be like versus what I don't like and what I'm against. But first I would like to go over some more updated, or some more things from He Who Shall Not Be Named's website. Of course, I'm talking about Alex Jones, and some of the crazy shit that he believes, and how hypocritical the right wing is, and I'm going to give you examples of that while reading this. And it's an updated list. It's new today. I don't think most of these were on there yesterday, so this is a new list of bullshit. And these are always fun, so these are always fun. I thought that would be something good to do, so that's what I'm going to do. Starting off the list, Planned Parenthood aborts, very clever, aborts, whatever, the person running it. And again, I'm taking down a few words. I took down a few words from the site. I'm not actually reading from the site. So the point is, Planned Parenthood aborts the person that was running it, or the woman that was kind of in charge of it, over not including trans language. She didn't want to include trans inclusive language. Now, I don't know much about that. I saw something about that on the news, but I don't really know much about that. But I'm guessing whatever happened, Alex Jones' take on this and his position on the issue, because that is something you will notice watching Jones over the years. For the man who is supposedly not homophobic and not anti-trans, and he doesn't care what you are. If you notice, no matter the issue, no matter what you're talking about, he tends to almost always come out as being against LGBTQ issues, and he's against gay people or transgender people or whatever. I don't care what you're speaking of or what you're talking about. When it comes to LGBTQ rights, he is always against it. But she was aborted, very clever, or she was kicked out of her job position because she didn't want to include using transgender inclusive language. Because God forbid we include transgender people, right? And before you people were talking about, trans people can't have abortions, that doesn't make any sense. Again, there's a lot more to Planned Parenthood than just fucking issues concerning abortion. That's not all they do. So, again, I'm sure there are transgender people that use Planned Parenthood for whatever reason. They have kids, whatever, that needed to go to that organization. And she didn't want to fucking include them. And she was pretty much being sexist, by the way, because she didn't want to include these people who were born biologically, because you can help you can help where your born is. But she didn't want to include biologically born males. So she's actually being sexist against male to female transgender people. A minute. So she's being discriminatory against male to female transgender people, and in a weird roundabout kind of way, she's actually being sexist against men as well. So, whatever. And again, I'm sure no transgender person would want to secure themselves called male because they don't identify as that, kind of the point. But nevertheless, you get the point, whatever. Continuing on with this idiocy. Liberal slam Chris Pratt, don't tread on me shirt. Now, I'm not sure who in the fuck Chris Pratt is. I'm not sure if he's a football player or what, and I don't really give a shit about him or his politics. But I like how conservatives always say, "Don't tread on me," man. You know, like they're always going to play that really badass shit. Like they really, really believe in your rights and your right to do what you want. Except they don't really believe in your rights and or your right to do what you want. What they believe in is their right to do what they want, and then to hell with you. That's what they really believe in. Because again, they have no, as I just talked about, they have no issue treading on transgender people. They have no issue treading on people with transgender children, or drag their kids, child drag queens. They constantly try to fuck them over and take their rights. Keeping with the subject of children, like I've talked before, I'm against genital mutilation. I'm against circumcision. That's of a child, an infant. Why the hell usually of an infant? You would hope at least it would be of an infant, because at least then they can remember, we assume. But the point is, why wouldn't you be against that? You're against first-term abortion, and you're always going to bitch about that, but you're not against pretty much sexually assaulting an actual infant. You have no issue with that. You just want to tell women they can't have an abortion in the first fucking 4 months of a pregnancy before the child has any kind of coherency. The child is in no way about as much coherency as I have now. But the point is, the child is in no way correct, or it's not alive, pretty much. It's not alive at that point. It's a fucking fetus. It's more alive than a bug. So you're saying, again, the point is, they don't mind treading on other people. They don't mind treading on immigrants. They don't mind deporting them and trying to know everything there is to know about them. They don't fucking mind treading on people. They just don't want you treading on them, their stupid guns, and their fucking fried Coca-Cola and NASCAR and whatever other horrible shit these fucking idiots are into. But beyond that, as far as his little shirt goes, believe me, as a liberal, a real liberal, mind you, I have no fucking problem whatsoever with the concept of don't tread on me. I support that 100%, and I don't want you treading on me or anyone else. And I actually do believe that. But, of course, you don't believe that, and it's just right-wing bullshit. But no, I don't have a fucking problem with his shirt. It's for why they do. I have no clue. He said something about it being white supremacy. How in the hell you figure that's white supremacy, I don't know. So that's bizarre. But, that's that. Obama, oh yeah, and here's something else stupid, but it proves what a crook Obama was. And it also proves why Democrats are hypocritical for supporting him but bitching about Trump, at least over immigration. Because Obama did say once, that crime and poverty are not categories that make somebody they're not eligible. That doesn't make you eligible for immigration. Now, while crime, yeah, I agree with you about crime. I don't think anyone I don't know of anyone that actually thinks you should be letting actual hardened criminals, especially violent criminals, into the United States. I don't think anyone believes that. But as for poverty goes, isn't that the fucking group of people we're taking? Isn't that the entire point? If you're not going to let poor people from other countries into this fucking country, then why let anyone? I mean, that is a group that is coming because they need help. I mean, if you're not going to let them in, why would you let any immigrant in? So, that doesn't even make sense. It's stupid. But I will say this much. I will rather tell you this much about Obama. You're right. He didn't give a rat's ass or give a fuck about immigrants. He didn't care about immigrants. And he deported probably twice to 3 times the amount, or rather 3 times the amount of immigrants Trump has yet deported and probably ever will deport. And that was your fucking pro-immigrant liberal president. No, he was anything but that. No, he was anything but that. He was anything but liberal. In fact, he was probably at best right of center, and he was more or less a neoconservative. He was like a lot of Democrats. He was a fucking neocon, and he had much more in common with fucking George Bush, than he does Karl Marx or someone. He's not a liberal, and he's not even left wing. But you had a guy who was part black, and he has a D in front of his name, so he was a Democrat, and he was slightly younger than a lot of presidents, so people supported him. Because you're actually being hypocritical and discriminating against people in a way. So because of those things, you're going to call him a liberal. He was never a liberal. Let's see what else. But of course, again, Alex Jones is against immigration. Go figure. Because he's so fucking pro-freedom and liberty. It's like he said, don't tread on me, but you're going to tread on these people. this fraud, that's Alexander Cortez and the Omar or whatever, and two other people. I don't know their names, but I mean, anyways, the point is, they are critical of indoor. Pretty much, they're the supposedly far left politicians, whatever. I'm not liking the name, kind of a bad sign in my opinion. The Scrod. What kind of Scrod are we talking about here? Farming Scrod or what? But the point is, what was it even about one time? Oh yeah, Antifa. It was about they would not disavow terrorist attacks. Well, here's what I will say about that. Should they disavow those attacks? Absolutely. Do they have to, or are they obligated to? No. Because first of all, they don't have to think anything just because you want them to, and second of all, they shouldn't even have to disavow that because they probably don't support it. It should be pretty damn obvious, and you're just wasting your time. And let anyone call into Alex Jones' show and start asking him a bunch of stupid shit about white supremacists. You know, is he a white supremacist, or does he support this group or that group and what they did? And he will get mad as shit at you. And you know what? He should be, because obviously it's not up to him to control the world's population of white supremacists and what the fuck they're doing. That doesn't make him one, and it's not his fucking problem. But then, under that same logic, he should fully understand why in the hell they don't want to answer this stupid question about Antifa. So, you know, whatever. He does an interview, Alex Jones on the site does an interview, and it's like half an hour long, and I wasn't watching the entire damn thing. I just didn't feel like it. But in the interview, it says something about prosperity is in our grasp. Will we seize the opportunity or something like that? No, actually, not if we do what you want. If we go down the road you're trying to take us, we're going to be back in 1950s from hell. We're going to be living in 1950s, except a nightmare version. Like, we're going to be living in Leave It to Beaver from hell. Everything you support is at this point in history is pretty much wrong. You're against LGBTQ rights. You're constantly shitting on them. You're fucking supporting the right wing. You're totally biased against the left. You're not giving anyone a fair shake. What in all are you doing? You're doing a lot of crazy shit. You're not supporting libertarianism anymore. You're not a libertarian. You don't seem to me to be fucking actually supporting a lot of what you started out as. And I mean, it's just it's whatever. It is what it is. So you know. Oh yeah, and in San Francisco, and I don't know much about this. Some people are against this, and like I said, I'm not an expert on this. But San Francisco has done a lot to try to accommodate, I guess, homeless people. Now, I agree with you on one thing. Obviously, they should do more than that, and they should take steps to actually try to get these people off the street and help them, like really help them, and get them off the streets and back into some form of, back into their community, back into a life, get a job, whatever. But obviously, it's not too much to ask that if you can't do that, you at least let them fucking sleep somewhere. But again, is that you don't tread on me when you're trying to bully some homeless guy and you're fucking kicking them off a bench they're trying to take a nap on? They can't even sleep. I mean, it's like you're pissed because at these people because they're letting homeless people sleep in a fucking vacant parking lot for a fucking week or something. I mean, what's wrong with you? So no, I mean, but from what I understand, they're trying to accommodate people who have no fucking real way of doing anything else, and I don't see what's wrong with that. Black Lives Matter refused to condemn the shooting of the Border Patrol agent. And obviously, I'm against shooting anyone. And as I have said before, the Border Patrol was simply doing their job. That is their job, whether we like it or not, or whether we like what they do or not. That is their job. But I would like to ask him, and I'm not going to say that about cops because he has been critical of cops before. And in fact, he almost got in a fight with a cop one time at a Kennedy protest or whatever, he was doing some kind of conspiracy thing. And he had people with him. They were pretty much protesting to reopen the investigation into the Kennedy assassination. Back when he still did some good, back then. And he has been critical of cops. I'll give him credit for that. But certainly a lot of other Republicans have not been as critical. Should they disavow every damn time a policeman shoots someone? Should every Republican or somebody on the right wing, should they have to disavow every single cop shooting someone? Because if so, you're going to be pretty damn busy. So what do you mean Black Lives Matter? You know, whatever. I forget that they say Black Lives Matter is endorsed. I don't know what happened. But a lot of right wing people, right winger Republicans, they will sit around and they will fucking try to endorse cops killing, shooting down black people. Is for Border Patrol agents. You know, again, it's anti-immigration, as fucking Alex Jones is always talking about it, and he's always talking about that. Why doesn't he disavow every damn time a Border Patrol agent shoots a fucking immigrant? Because again, you would be pretty busy. That's why. So you know that there's that. But should we now fucking assume that you must be pro Border Patrol agent shooting immigrants because some do and you aren't? You don't come out and be critical of every single time this happens. So again, that's my opinion on that. Going from that into something else, and that is America currently, that is the United States as it exists now, unfortunately. And the right wing love it, and they just want more of this shit. Well, as far as what countries do I like, or let me first say what country I don't like. I'm not, you know, of course, I'm talking about first world countries here. I'm not going to talk about every single small dictatorship in the world, because again, there would be so many, it would be so hard to do. I probably couldn't come to this. I couldn't come to an actual decision on that. But it relates to or concerns with what I think is the worst country in the world, probably China and Saudi Arabia. And I'm not sure what one is worse. I guess from what I know, I guess Saudi Arabia is the worst one. So Saudi Arabia is the worst country. They're the worst country in the world. It really, much of what they represent in their values is the total polar opposite of everything I believe in and what I want this country not to be. You know, I don't want us to be the redneck white version of Saudi Arabia like Alex Jones does. I actually want us to be a fucking liberal, better republic in a liberal country. I would like for us to be a better, more prosperous nation, and one that takes care of our citizens and our veterans and protects our children and doesn't mutilate their fucking genitals. That would be a nice country. Beyond that, what country I do like, or what I think the best country is, I mean, that's a hard one. There's a lot of countries in Northern Europe I like, for example. Well, let me first say, while I don't think they're close to being the best country in the world, one country that is better than us is, though you could argue by how much, one country that is better than us is Japan. Japan is a better country than us about some things, and so on and so forth. And there's some things I don't like about Saudi Arabia that we don't do. I mean, not Saudi Arabia, I'm sorry, but I meant Japan. There's some things that Japan, I guess I said Japan the first time. The point is Japan is worse than us about some things. There's some things we don't do, but for the most part, I think they're better than us. But what countries I like would be Norway, Denmark, Holland, really Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Switzerland. Those are all countries I like. I don't like Germany that much, but they've not been a very good country since like the Weimar Republic, and even then they had poverty. So the last time I liked Germany was during the Weimar Republic in the 20s. But even they don't circumcise. So like I said before, that's one good thing about them. And of course, none of the other countries, including Japan, all of those countries, none of them do it either. And America has tried to shill it before. We tried to hawk that off on other countries. And Japan's one of those countries we try to hawk that shit off on, and they still don't do it. They still don't do it because it's a bad idea, and they're smart enough to know that. We do it because we're idiots. But I guess if I had to narrow it down, first of all, it would either be Norway, Denmark, or Holland. And call me an idiot, but I forget what country Amsterdam is in. But I like Amsterdam. You know, they've got the red light district, or they have the red light district, and marijuana is legal, and it's a pretty good place. They're cleaner countries than us. They still have some level of a natural landscape. They still have a lot of natural, you know, nature left. But I guess if I had to narrow it down further, probably Norway is my favorite country. And again, I'm not sure if it's Denmark or Holland or where Amsterdam is, but I like Amsterdam a lot. So that's my favorite country. And in many ways, they represent what I think America should be and what we're not. That's not to say they're perfect, and there's some things I don't like about them either, but I would say Norway and Denmark and Holland are good countries. I think Norway is my favorite country. So I'm a big fan of Norway, and that's why I would like to see America become more like. So there's that. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else to talk about. P666.